everyone seems to be talking about healthy masculinity these days, but are we all talking about the same thing? I came across this interview and I think it raises a much bigger question. Let's watch it.
I feel just really lucky and grateful, and to be in a place where I don't feel codependent, where I, you know, where, yeah, I don't feel like I'm losing myself in something, and I'm getting, you know, to continue to grow and build this relationship with someone that I'm really love, who's so sweet and caring and incredibly funny and talented and gorge.
She's so hot and cool.
Yeah,
She's so hot and cool.
you know her.
Yeah, our little
Julia Shiplett.
Oh,
and it's
my
cool how
goodness.
Julia's just got her thing going. You know, like it's
Totally.
so great that you guys have just each doing your own thing.
Yeah.
I've been asking people about masculinity and femininity. We are seeing so much, and I mean our entire lives, we've seen so much unhealthy masculinity, so much sickness in this world, specifically through the lens of men.
Wow.
And in
The
your
lens of men as well.
gender journey, which to me, as someone who knows you, but also as someone consuming you as a public figure, to me, you appear healthy and continually finding more health and security. What does it mean to you to hear me say healthy masculinity?
Healthy masculinity to me is, or even just something I've felt as transitioning, is like leaning away from whenever there is some sort of impulse or expectation you've put on yourself to like shut down or conform in a
This
way
here
that
is
usually
not
feels
masculinity.
like this. Like I am closing off.
No.
I remember kind of being like, "Oh, Elliot, maybe you should, you know, talk with your hands a little less," or, you know, maybe in pictures you're, because ever since transitioning, now I'm like, Johnny, I am smiling. I am smiling in those photos. Whereas I used to be so, I could barely look at a photo of myself. I was always like, you know, and now, and I'll be say
She
it,
looks
dude's like, "Hey,
miserable.
are you Victor from Umbrella Academy?" You know, and we're doing a photo together. He's very,
She looks miserable. Like,
yeah,
look at
and
her.
like having that moment where I'm like, oh, should I also not? Like, should I also be?
Close
And
off.
it's just like, what the fuck, Elliot? What are you talking about? Like,
Not
oh,
even
honey, you're
that.
the
Men
part of the
don't even
problem.
think
So I
and
think
talk
it's,
like this.
to me, healthy masculinity would be, well, you know what, healthiness for anyone to just, you know, love themselves, be able to care for themselves, ideally get rest when they can, you know, like just the practical basic, drink water, like eat a banana, you
That's
know.
the thing.
Like,
Masculinity
and
and
also
femininity. Masculinity for
you know,
men
doing
and
what you can
femininity
to
for
be
women.
intentionally and mindfully, not letting yourself get like
That's how it's
swayed
meant
or
to be.
twisted by
No, but if you switch them around, it just causes
the
confusion.
rules that I feel like end up like leading to
Because what they're basically describing is
that
femininity.
that are, you know, do get inflicted by toxic
I'm
masculinity,
just absolutely staggered.
violence and abuse.
Because masculinity
just
is
general
about having a
cruelty.
plan, strategy,
And,
fix, provide, lead.
Yeah, I think it's just
Never
like,
she was saying that she was smiling
healthy
and all
masculinity can
those
just
things
mean
there,
a really good cry.
but I just don't see it.
I just want to make sure I'm always like leaning away from that pull to shut off emotionally.
I'm hearing like an openness,
Yeah.
practicing opening,
Yeah.
because it's so true, like a closed off that, and like,
And it happened, and the closed off could lead to just impatience. It could lead to whatever it is. I'm trying so much to just be like, when that happens, it's like, Elliot,
You see that?
shoulders back, take a few breaths.
She's stopping herself for
It
being
really makes a
feminine.
difference.
but when we are organized
When
through
you
this
were
such a
originally a
strict,
woman.
rigid system, the pressure to conform, we don't realize how that pressure to conform is suppressing our health, restricting our nervous system. This is kind of what I was like thinking about being in love and
Oh,
the relaxation.
oh
And
my
my journey with
Wow.
gender and sexuality has like opened up so much since becoming a parent. The physical experience of making a person and then getting that person out of my body, like that has been a huge touchstone for me for opening up my own pressure to conform. Like it was in my pregnancy that I realized I identify as non-binary, as a non-binary
Can't
woman
believe what I'm hearing.
in pregnancy. And
and
that was
did-
when my sex like opened
Oh,
up.
no.
And
And
actually
then
I
she
was
said
able
that
to
she's
finally
non-binary.
take in the relax and the surrendering to
wow.
my partner that I didn't realize, I didn't even know how tightly I was holding on to it. But it is that pressure to conform that restricts us, that we don't even know we're being held so tightly by. And it's painful for everybody.
You know how I am when it comes to these kind of things, that I can be ruthless, but I'm going to be a little bit polite here, like that. But this is the problem we're having today when it comes to something like this, trying to explain masculinity. And it is absolutely disturbing to see this in general. And the thing about it is that this is the problem. When you have a woman that is now trans, for example, to be a man, and then when a woman that says that she is non-binary, and this is where all this confusion starts to happen. You think that you are right here every time, but this is not the way forward. I've said this before here for a minute in my videos before, that this is not progress. This is decline. Like I said before, look how miserable Elliot is. Look at her. And she is saying that she can smile again over and over and over again, but she looks so mentally exhausted. You cannot convince anybody with this interview that she looks happy and excited. How can a woman be a man? It's impossible. I don't care about these puberty blockers or whatever you put in your body, and then it changes what goes within them. That doesn't make you a man. What I would love to know, what will happen if these people stop taking these blockers. Now, what I mean about I don't care about the puberty blockers, I'll tell you something for free. I care about the young people who are being brainwashed to take these things. They're not... We see in society where they say, oh, they're not even in the age to even have the kind of, it's not legal to take them. That even shouldn't be in the picture. Those kind of things should not even be brought or even shown or even being said towards children. And not even that. These things shouldn't even exist in the first place. And I said before that one sex changes into another sex, for example, like male to female, doesn't make you that. And like I said before in my previous video, that this is blasphemy towards real females and vice versa. And God as well. And then we see this. And then you end up expecting these two to explain what masculinity is, when basically all I hear is from the feminine side. All I hear is two women talking about femininity. I have explained this in my previous videos, what is femininity and what is masculinity when it comes to relational situations, especially when it's under the Lord. When you don't have God, this is what you get: confusion, where everything that you feel, whatever that you think is always right. There's always a justification for them that this is real. Instead of getting help for mental problems that we have in society, these men celebrate it. And I mentioned before that everyone needs help, male or female. If you are female and you don't get help, brother, it's going to be long for you. If you don't get help for things that is not under your makeup, or you don't allow a man to be a man for what is required for a man to do it, watch what will happen to a woman mentally when they get older. Real women know this here is wrong. They know it. They know that, no, I will let my husband do it, or I will let my son do it when it comes to doing men things. There's no shame on getting help. Men and women complement each other. And everybody know what they are doing here is wrong, but they would rather just go with the tide. Look at society. This is not normal. Big man thing. If you want every man to be like this, to be feminine, nothing gets done. You will see a damaged society all over the globe. We see this, what do you call it? Equality for women, for example. Equality doesn't exist. Oh yeah, they said that, oh yeah, why isn't females in this category, for example? Why are they not in these jobs? And obviously, women want men to open up and this and that. Now look, obviously, for men to open up is fine. But we shouldn't lose the integrity of masculinity within a man. Because when men are masculine, it gets things done. In other words, if you allow a man to be feminine, nothing is going to be done. Especially when it comes to workplaces. The places here where society run. Men, these jobs, these hidden jobs, men keep society running. In other words, if you let a man not to be strong and not to be masculine, in other words, you expect feminist women here to do these jobs in the workplaces here where men are supposed to be, and then you tell them to do that job. When I say about feminists to do those jobs, watch, those jobs cannot be done. Because you know why? Because women are not built to do those jobs. And all of it all comes here from confusion. We need men to be masculine. We need women to be feminine. Not feminist, feminine. There are two different things. And what we see here is that we see two women saying, oh, I feel, close up. Oh yeah, like a really good cry. Femininity is being soft, tender, allow a woman to cry. Men cannot cry. They have to dust themselves off and go again because they cannot fail. Where men haven't got time to cry, we haven't got time to cry ourselves to death. Men can cry, but they cannot do it in the public. They have to do it behind closed doors, then go out in the world and go again. It's unbelievable. This is not healthy masculinity. As a matter of fact, this is toxic. And not even that. Women like it when men take charge.
And it's painful for everybody.
Man.
This
is the thing.
It's cruel.
This is one
You're saying
thing
cruelty
no
as
human
related to
being
the
should
patriarchy.
touch
It's
when it comes to
unfortunately
male
true.
and female.
You know, the trans experience of
You are
finding
a female
your comfort in
and
your body
you don't want to be a
is
female.
particularly
And God
visible,
made
and yours
you as a female.
person who's been famous for so long is particularly pronounced. But this is actually emblematic of how everybody feels in this society, wrong in their bodies. As
You see,
women being told
wrong
we're too
in their
fat, we're too
bodies.
thin, not curvy enough, too curvy. Cis men are taking tea. Cis men take tea and then are loudly transphobic, podcasters, whatever. And we're missing this opportunity for the trans experience to be this particularly pronounced and accessible example of finding your true self.
One thing I feel really
my days.
fortunate
Now,
about,
but they label
like,
this toxic stuff as transphobic.
getting nominated for an Oscar. when I was
Finding
20
your
or whatever.
true self.
And having that happen when I was so young.
You're meant to be finding your true self
that period,
within
feeling
femininity,
the
ladies.
worst.
And men
Like,
should find themselves
absolutely
within the
just
masculinity.
Not okay. And those years following. And to learn that lesson so young, like, to go, like, I actually don't, that's not what I care about. And something's not okay here. And, like, to be in a place now where I can, like, reflect on that and, like, just sort of where my priorities are, where they are creatively. Like, there's just, I feel so lucky to have learned that young, that you could have this thing that everyone's saying is the dream come true, and people's obsession with fame and, or what success means. And don't get me wrong, of course it comes with, it helps your career, of course.
And not even that. Didn't Elliot Page even cast in that movie that's called The Odyssey as Sinon? Where there was a countdown trailer that's getting buried by dislike just because of the way it was cast in the first place. Because of the simple fact that she's playing as a man in the movie. And you're not even a man. I mean, you can just see how Hollywood is shoving this into people's faces. Trying to make this wokeness relevant. Oh my days. I mean, she just looks so miserable. Like, why do you put yourself here through that? And not even that. You don't even sound like a man. Do you know why we all have these problems? It's because, now obviously, this ain't aiming at parents, because parents go through so much in childhood and growing up and those things. They've been through so much tough situations. Both male and female, like that. But you can clearly see that she is a broken woman who is uncomfortable with herself due to abuse and violence. And then, because of that, these women end up being in survival mode. Like, they don't know who they are. And do you know how much energy it takes here from a human being when they're in survival mode? Being fake and everything. And the way that girls are meant to be brought up is different from how a boy is meant to be brought up. And when you put a girl in a boys' lane, and I've said it before in my previous videos, unfortunately, all these problems start to arise. I've said this for time about putting girls in the boys' lane and vice versa. And the way you nurture girls is by being tender, but at the same time teach them, lead them, let them know about the feminine experience. Being led by a feminine example with responsibilities, accountabilities, and the qualities of feminine, knowing God. And then you be with the father to know the example of being around real men. Then go back to your mom to know the deeper things of being feminine. But boys are completely different, because they're with their mom half of the time, be with their dad half of the time. And then when they hit puberty, they have to be with their dad to teach them about what it is to become masculine, to work, to provide, to lead, to be led by the Lord, the faith of Christ, protect, etc., etc. You know that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. This is what I mean. That mentors, aunties, uncles, teacher, friends, people in the community who are examples, they're all pitching to raise the boy and the girl. And this is exactly what I mean. But the thing about it is that when you have a daughter that's been disciplined like a boy by a nutcase, the girl, you don't know better. In general, the child don't know better, and they try to bury their emotions, but they try to be strong in that situation, which is not good. To the point that her disposition is now a boy. And it starts here, and then the child starts to be hardened when they grow up. Then they end up being in survival mode. And this is where all this confusion for girls start to happen when they think like boys, unfortunately. Less of that. When girls are being punished like boys. It's okay for discipline, for punishment. Fair enough, fairs. But abuse, by nutcase, less of that. Girls should not be disciplined like a boy. You can clearly see that what happened to her in her past, she's doing it onto herself. She's now inflicting the violence onto herself because she doesn't know better. Boys and girls need love, real love, not abuse, not violence. And then you see the host of this interview, she's meant to help her, not encourage her to continue the confusion and think that's the right thing to do to be a man. Even love, helps to stop people from doing things that cause problems for them. And you can clearly see that her body is saying, I'm still in pain, but yet she's still ignoring it. I would have loved to see her working those dangerous hidden jobs. Like I said before, that society is run by men, like construction, builders, bricklayers, steel workers, scaffolding, power station workers, sewage workers, road constructions, oil rig workers. I can name plenty. And you see what man is talking about. Because real men is what makes society run, not by talking about feelings and sitting in an interview like this and trying to explain what healthy masculinity is. Healthy masculinity is to get things done in a healthy way. In a healthy, good, moral way that's led by the Lord, not by feelings and them man there. And obviously you see them defining masculinity as a feeling. Masculinity is not a feeling. It is what we men are. Men are meant to lead, protect, provide, create peace, led by the Lord, the faith of Jesus Christ. Women also nurture, create peace, the culture, the atmosphere in the house, build, respect her man. Learn you how to speak about them when they're not around. Submit, feminine, have Christ in her, faith in Jesus Christ. Men, you have the instinct to protect those who he loves you, despite the fact that the men have to go out to go to war for you, for the family. Like the world, man, it will be men internally, mentally. Men still have to go through that. Women are expect their man to stop burglars that burgle into their home.
Where they are creatively, like there's just, I feel so lucky to have learned that young. That you could have this thing that everyone's saying is the dream come true, and people's obsession with fame and, or what success means. And don't get me wrong, of course it comes with, it helps your career, of course. But I just mean, like, it gave me such a, I think, profoundly important lesson so young. And in some ways, I feel like that relates to, like, conformity, or, how people think they should, approach life, or they get lost in an idea of what success means to them or what have you. And like, in terms of my transness, I feel so lucky because I feel like I've gone from a place where I could barely function, I was so uncomfortable, to now kind of, no matter what's going on, like, my feet are on the ground. And I had to do all that digging, and I had to, like, scrape through all those layers and not worry about what people were going to say or think and all that. And gosh, when you do get, like, feel like liberated from that and that shame that you've been carrying, like, that is what I would wish for everybody. And I do think that's what trans and gender non-conforming people can offer. And of course, people in power, what have you, these, like, white supremacist patriarchal structures don't want people to feel liberated.
Yeah.
And feel that sense of power and feel that sense of possibility. Nor do they want to lose a societal structure that, keeps so many people oppressed and resources extracted and everything that it leads to.
That is so brilliant. Okay, my last question is, you started working at a young age. You had talent plus drive plus the skill set to apply that talent and drive, keep yourself as safe as you possibly could, and make it through to this healthy state where you are more and more and more yourself. As such a driven person who's also had sometimes it can be unfortunate, the confirmation of success, how do you pause and step away and find rest?
Well, this now, I feel like I'm so much better at. But I think that's just because I'm comfortable, like, I can actually physically rest, I think just being...
Sitting with yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Just being more comfortable in my body. So for me now, I don't know. It's pretty simple. I'm really just, I love walking my dog,
Hell yeah.
getting to check in, see friends, spend time with my wonderful girlfriend. I love to read.
Yeah, you strike me as a reader.
You know, it is actually, it's very, very sad the way the world is going at the moment. And the thing about it is that I've said before, I've spoken to a lot of women, seen testimonies, experiences from other people. And I've always said that deep down within a woman, they will want a man that take charge, that they can be led by the Lord, they can protect. And we have seen these problems here where a masculine woman and a masculine man, when they're in the same household, it doesn't work because it affects the children overall. Now, I'm not just talking about the bickering or the fighting or the peace in the household is gone, but for the simple fact that it's the relation between mom and dad. Like I said before, the man and the woman, the wife and the husband, the mom and the dad. And they are the examples to the children. And they're also the example of what's going to happen outside the home. So whatever you do, whatever you teach, whatever you show, whatever you lead, whatever of how you nurture your children, especially the way that you react to your children, is going to affect them. It can either affect them in a good way or a bad way. And not even that, it's going to show when they go out in the world. And like I said before, women, females, daughters, girls, when they're young, when they grow up, they need love. They need tender love. And when you see a woman that is going through so much within, this is where someone needs to help her. Can you imagine children being in that environment with her and her so-called partner? And this is the problem that we're having, that a lot of children are going to be affected by this, not just at home, but we're also seeing this in the schools, and they think that it's okay. It's so sad. It's sad. It's so sad to see this. Like I said before, it's not going to get any better. It's not. We need men. We need women because they complement each other. Masculine for men, femininity for women. And people will say, oh, why do women have to be feminine? Why do men have to be masculine? It's because of the makeup of men and the makeup of women. That's how the Lord put it. And the thing about it is that there are some things in life that it shouldn't even be touched. There is an organic order of how things are meant to run. And obviously there's some context to it. But then if you put it up right, left, right, and center like a puzzle, like a scrambled egg, you see confusion. And this is what we have in society when they think that this is okay. Women are beautiful. If you know exactly what they represent, we will cherish them and appreciate women. Why ruin that? And then expect a woman to behave like a man, knowing full well that because you were born as a female at first and then you think you can be a man. This is what I said before, that if your child who was a girl and then she ends up bringing up like I'm a boy, you cut it off from the root immediately. I can clearly see that my child is a girl. That's my daughter. If she says she's a boy, you cut it off from the root. You said it in a tender way, saying that, honey, who told you that? You were a girl. You were a beautiful girl, a gorgeous girl, a smart girl. God made you as a girl. Whoever said that to you is toxic. Whoever said that is trying to destroy you. Never forget that God made you as a girl. You say it time and time and time again to cut it off from the root immediately. Because if you don't, it will become a massive, gigantic tree in a forest, and obviously it's too late to cut it off. And then you see why you cannot risk giving boys dolls. This is not about destroying the personality in this regard. Because, for example, if I have a child and then I can see a child, it's a girl, but then at the same time she's saying something else, you know that probably it's coming here from the school or from somewhere else. And this is where you have to trim it off immediately, because I can see that my child is a girl. But people always trying to say, no, wait, but what does the child identify? The Lord has already made his decision of what the sex of the child is. And then you want to change it. People don't know that words are very strong. You may say like, oh, a certain person is dumb. That's a seed implanted into people. If you say it to a person, you are dumb. Just watch. People say that sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That can be true, but other words, can hurt you. I could swear at somebody, but then what happens? Either the person will respond or ignore. If you respond back, then that tells you everything you need to know, that words do hurt. This is why you should never nurture your children in a way that will destroy them, in a moral way. Because right now, nobody knows what moral means now. Because you want them to be a certain way. You want them to be like that. Let their personality develop in the right, moral, healthy way, in a God-led way. And then cut off things that goes beyond the boundary. We have so much problems from all across the globe. And this is just one example. Comment in the comment section below on what was raised in this video, and I will be there to speak with all of you, like that. Anyways, I appreciate all of you, for the growth and the support, on this channel. Anyways, take care of yourself. Bless. Peace. See you guys in the next one.